I guess the green cards sort of combo with our Peril Riders also, because if we can't cast them, we can just discard them. So, wombo combo. Eh? Eh? With this deck, I think I do want to play first. There are many sealed decks I would want to draw with. Well, this is an interesting hand. It kind of says, can you beat a 3/3? I'm going to keep it. It's got all of our sources of mana. If we draw any of our combos with the Heir of Falconwrath, we're kind of in business. And if we don't, we're kind of just jamming some 3-powered things on the table and seeing if we can win with them. Like, this hand almost wants to go into like a suicide aggro sort of thing. But I think we still lead with the Heir. We can decide whether or not we want to get value out of it or just pitch a Pale Rider or a land or something. If it gets answered, we're pretty bummed. It's like there's a pretty strong incentive not to chunk a land to the Pale Rider. So one option is to just jam one out there, toss the other. It doesn't leave us the dream nut draw of our turn 3 options, but it does mean they're going to be under considerable pressure right now. And then we can next turn do this. I think I actually like that line, because they're not likely to be able to deal with a 3/3 this early. One of the few things I can think of is the Fox. And not a lot of sealed decks are running that. Well, that'll do it, but that's kind of okay. Like, they're going to equip it in attack, so why would we not just swing back with it? Like, it's not a fun trade. I just 2-for-1'd myself, but here we are. That is the risk of Pale Riding. Or if they would like to race, we are also okay with that. We're probably not going to transform this until we get some value, because we'd love to hit the Get Frog. Depends on what they do. Like, if their line is equip that and attack, I think we can probably race that. Particularly if we draw the Utes. Gods, hopefully they misunderstand what Skulk does and decide they want to hold it back to block the Pale Rider. That'd be fantastic, but kind of don't anticipate that happening. Or just running it as +1/+0. I gotta say, I like that plan. Alright. I'm feeling good about what's happening here. So I think our line now, like, there's an argument for discard this and get in for 6 this turn, putting them to 11. Which I don't hate. That would guarantee that we can hit Get Frog next turn. That's got to be wrong. Like, I'd love to discard a land and hit for an extra point of damage here, but I don't think we actually need it. Like, if they don't get something going this turn, this Hunter will really beat them to death, and Get Frog on turn 5 is pretty dang good. Some people get worried about the Get Frog eating your entire mana base, but, I mean, you have a 6/6. I was gonna say, we could also draw a thing that we want to discard to flip that, but I don't believe that that's the case. I think we're just Get Frogging here. So if I swing with this, this trades. I swing with this, this trades. I can also ditch the killer, make sure we get in for 3, and have a clean board for Get Frog. They've got 1 mana open for a trick. There's not a 1 mana trick that gets me. I'm going to toss the old killer here and get her going. We're passing up on some value. And I think we swing team here, getting us a nice clear board for the Get Frog. If they've got a way to kill the Get Frog, that's kind of bad for us. But one of the reasons I'm interested in the trade is they've just played a Cryptolith right and missed a couple land drops. This will let them untap with 5 mana if we don't make these trades. They've got 4 cards in hand, so I want to try to kill them before they can deploy those 4 cards. They held it back, they obviously want to block. So let's give them the opportunity to do that. This lets us hit for 3, put lethal on the table, and deny them 2 mana. That's got to be the right call. Alright. At least we drew a card. We are indeed sad to see the Get Frog go. That's a lot of equipments you have there. And we got a foil clue. That's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and pop it and see if we get anything good here. A land to discard to our Call of the Bloodline. I'm not opposed to doing that. We do have 6 drops in the deck, but I think the only one's double red with the Devil's Playground, so like a 4th swamp doesn't do a lot for us. And we may end up needing to chump that. It depends. They've got basically 1 turn to deal with this. A little bit less of now. So that only makes him 2 power, which is not super amazing. Let's go ahead and put him to 2. That means even if they deal with the flyer, they don't really have an attack because we'll still have the vampire can get back to block. We're also putting him lethal to a top-decked Geist Blast or something like that. I don't think they should have scooped yet, but that's all right. So they've got Declaration in Stone to deal with our bombs, which is what you should use it for. I don't love that card in Draft, but I think it's certainly playable in Sealed. They've shown a bit of a weakness to flyers. That doesn't mean they don't have something that can deal with flyers. In their green, they probably have a Spider. And they've shown a Tireless Tracker, which is amazing. With this many equipments, I have to assume that they have Avacyn Missionaries, because like I don't know why you play these particularly otherwise, especially if you're not going to mill yourself. If they're milling themselves, I'd say Topplegeist, something like that, but we just didn't see it. The fact that they have that and the Tireless Tracker means we've got to be really careful what we do with our Murderous Compulsion, because we're probably not going to have many answers to that. Like if we had better fixing, I might start thinking about bringing in a Sleep Paralysis and the Stitchwing Scab, because they're a little, like I said, a little vulnerable. It makes me definitely not want something like Equestrian Skill. I still think Magmatic Chasm could do a thing for us, because I could see them stabilizing. Again, I don't love Hulking Devil or Stromkirk Mentor, but they kind of go with that whole Magmatic Chasm plan. Yeah, I really do need the double red, don't I? This mana base is just asking for trouble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red. I don't actively like the Pale Rider on the draw. I think I'm going to cut one of those for this wolf. and cut a swamp for a mountain. I don't love the wolf, but we're gonna change this up a little bit, assuming that they go on the play. We should be fine. As long as they don't come out to a blisteringly fast start, this hand looks good. That, for reference, does not count as a blisteringly fast start. What we're really scared of, though, is a turn 2 Lambholt Pacifist. This hand will certainly get punished by that. Even a Fox would be scary. That guy's not something we're happy to see, either. Sure, you can know that I have a swamp. I clearly can't cast anything, or I would have. The only good news here is that they're not activating it. The bad news is it's probably going to kill us. No equip is interesting. It does mean they're probably going to spew out some dudes. Yeah, we're looking at 2 3/3s already. Elected not to get another point in it. And we've drawn essentially air. So our best line is to play the Stromkirk Mentor, trade something off. We'll take 7 plus 4 in the meantime and go to 6, and then maybe stabilize with this, but Declaration in Stone just kills us. Duskwatch Recruiter is not a fair and balanced Magic card. It is in fact not the Fox News of Magic. We need them to not be able to cast a creature this turn, which is unlikely with their cost reduce. Not to have an answer to Stromkirk Mentor. Bob Manley is acceptable. So is spending 1 more mana than you have to cast it. Macabre Waltz is not likely to be crazy useful. So our line here is trade with that, I guess. Be dead to a removal spell. We could trade with that, take 6 going to 4. I think that makes us... That line would still put us in trouble to the equipment. It doesn't matter, they had a thing. But we weren't beating a thing with that hand. And they had another thing. Alright. We got run over. Looks like a thing that can happen. Do I want to change anything up? I don't think so. Like, we've got the early drops that we need. We just kind of need to hit them. I think we're fairly well suited if we're going on the play. The killers are a little worse because we're playing a whole lot of Scathe Zombie here. There may be something we could do with blue and still potentially splash the frog instead of the red. I don't think I have time to build it. At least to build it properly, and I'm not sure that I would want it on the play anyway, but let's see what this would look like. This looks like a fair swap for our red cards. We're losing a bit of aggro, but we're gaining a bit of flying and early blockers. What does that put our creature count at if we do that? It actually puts our creature count higher. I think I'm inclined to give this a shot, as I think this is either better or just what we need to be doing. It's a very different game plan. but I think it's one that can actually work. And Stitchwing Scab can enable Madness if you want it to. It loses us the Youth's shenanigans, which is something I was interested in, but I want to try this out. Well, unfortunately, that's not going to work. This one will. We're not happy about it. If they can kill a Niblis of Dusk, we're kind of done. Well, I do and I don't. I want to be able to resolve Broken Concentration, but I also just kind of need some action spells. Like, Macabre Waltz just sucks here. I think we're actually okay keeping this because I think we can nab something with Broken Concentration. It's really scary running that line when they have werewolves. Because if they play one here, we've got to interact with it. Yep. Which makes it harder and harder to hold up Broken Concentration. Although Call the Bloodline makes holding up Broken Concentration quite easy. And even gets U value. So we could cast it here and then plan to do shenanigans with it next turn. I'm still a little nervous about that. Because as soon as we don't cast a spell, they're doing things. So like that line isn't terrific for us, but we'll start here. Maybe they pass and flip. Seems unlikely, but it could happen. God, that guy. We just can... Are we just cold to that guy? I mean, I guess I can cast a Mentor and have a 4/2 down. That doesn't seem unreasonable. We'll trade for Duskwatch Recruiter. We've got ye old Call the Bloodline block shenanigans. Obviously, it would have been nice to get a token out and put the counter on it, but I think as sad as it is, we're going to try to ride a Niblis to Dusk to victory here. The only thing we've seen for sure from our opponent is that they have trouble dealing with flyers. The best thing in the world for Stromkirk Mentor is to trade with one of these. Like, he's excited about that. So he's like, here, take my sword. Just let me jump in front of one of those buses. That's what I want to do. Is just get run over by a werewolf and thrown into that fire. Lag testy. I don't think that's what you mean, but that's all right. Like, we can discard Waltz to make a 1/1. Oh, this is a 6 mana combo. Maybe the red was better. Well, it's easy to start thinking that when you mold a 6 on the play. Like, that doesn't mean that blue isn't a viable option. It just means that our opponent resolved a card drawing machine and we can't interact with it. That is a reason to want the Geist Blast. I'm really thinking about what to cast here, which must be a nice position to have, because we're sitting here with a deck that kind of can't cast anything. I guess my other option is Jund Bad Mana. I don't like Jund Bad Mana. I guess that's essentially the version of the deck I was looking at earlier, that's black-green, splashing red for removal. Our mana gets a little better for that. Here, we'll pause this for a second while our opponent decides which line they would like to take to murder us. After much deliberation, they decided to activate their Duskwatch Recruiter and pass, which kind of inclines me to attack them for 2 and then counter that Avacyn Missionaries when they cast it, which I can do and keep play Call the Bloodline. Like, we're losing some value if I don't discard this to make a 1/1. But again, I I think our plan is kill them with this Niblis of Dusk. So we're just going to try to protect that as best we can. And cry softly when we can't really do much. Like, we could wait a turn, but after seeing the 2 equipments, I'm absolutely scared to death of that missionary. So which of these am I more afraid of? I think it's probably got to be the Howler. Like, the chances that they have a combat trick here are pretty good, but with 6 cards in hand, I'd A, don't want them to draw more, and B, don't want them to get a discount on all of their creatures. We can still stabilize with the Get Frog or something like that, but I don't think we beat this resolved. Maybe they elect to cast something else, and then we can hold up Broken Concentration. I can't imagine they do, though. I got a lot of answers for that. But if I'm going to commit to holding up 5 mana next turn, we're just going to die. Like, how does that work well for me? I don't actually think it does. I think we priced ourselves into countering whatever they do here. Which probably means Missionaries is going to deal with this, which is not something we're really happy about. But here we are. We can deadweight that guy, get in for another 3. The downside of those missionary idiots is that they're going to exile this and we'll have to kill the missionaries, which we could eventually do, but I think we've locked ourselves in here too. I'm guessing they want to be able to play and equip the artifact in the same turn, which they could have done last turn if they'd done it before attacking with a Duskwatch Recruiter. So I'm expecting Avacyn's Missionary, Shard of Broken Glass equip. And then we've got to hit some good draws to get out of that. All right, Bob Manley's fine. I'm not scared of Bob. Nor am I scared of Blob. I don't like it, but we can chump block these with tokens all day if we need to. So I could waltz back a Mentor, discard an island, get in for 3, play the Mentor, or I can just discard the island and make a 1/1 and chump. Well, I'm at 14. I can probably take 5 and go to 9 and be all right, because we're going to put our opponent at 10. God, that sounds so miserable. If I discard the island, I can't even cast the Mentor, so I think I'm in here. We're going to flip that back too, though, aren't we? I don't like that. But I mean, we're playing synergy cards and don't have enough of them to really do. Like, imagine we have a Vampire Aristocrat and a Groundskeeper and can really build around this. As it is, we've got some spiffy Madness cards that we could use to do a thing. Except we can't. I could also conceivably discard a land, discard something on my turn, and then another one, and then trade for the Lamholt Pacifist. But I think I'm in chump mode. I might just be in take 7 damage mode, and then untap and see what we're looking at. I think I'm definitely making the Vampire end of turn. I don't think I'm actually blocking with it. I think we take 7 and then play it. There's the missionaries. Don't think we beat weapon equip. Well, they don't have it. Alright. Let's start here. Get frog. Well, again, we probably gonna get weapon equipped, but we cast this guy. We've got a blocker for that, blocker for that, blocker for that. Like, I mean, we've locked ourselves in. If you can deal with this, you probably win this game on the spot. If you can't, we've got a shot. Don't kill my frog, 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 don't kill my frog. Stop killing my frog. You've got lands in hand, we both know it. You're just flooded out. You've got nothing. You have nothing. You must answer to the frog. Holy crap, they actually did have nothing. I guess we're less likely to need blue. Cue to drawing double blue spell. Alright. I like the way things are going here. Does that mean I can actually attack with this guy? What happens? They double block? I'm not super thrilled about that. We are kind of on a clock though, because as soon as they are able to do the thing with the stuff, we kind of die. We're definitely corpse trawling. I don't know that I have enough time to macabre waltz back the Get Frog and play it again. I'm just trying to decide if we attack with it or not. I think I may need to do that. Because if I'm able to trade this for 2 of their creatures, then we're in business. And they can't have anything or they would have already done this. The only thing that just destroys me is Silver Strike. If they've got a Silver Strike, we're done playing Magic. And I think they'd had an opportunity to cast it on the Niblis and probably would have. Like, even another combat trick isn't the end of the world because the Corpse Trawler can trade with these guys. So I'm actually going to attack with it. Again, the hope is that they trade off 2 things for it. That's acceptable, though. Because between the Corpse Trawler and our lifelinker, we can block effectively. Because, again, as soon as they hit that stupid shard of broken glass, we're losing the frog anyway. So let's get some value out of him while we can. You're going to let me do this? I would love to block your Avacyn Missionaries. I think this is probably worth it. Actually, what's probably worth it... Well, I can make sure that he never attacks with this as long as I have the Corpse Trawler down. So what I may want to do is this. I'd like to be able to get some value out of our Macabre Waltz, and we're not going to be able to do that until this guy dies. But this at least handles Bob Manley, gets another thing off the board, gains us a life in the exchange. He's probably got to take the Get Frog here, right? Once the Get Frog is out, we're still killing him with this, and we can kind of handle the other cards he's playing. Lamplighter's not bad. It can block that. Let's get in with Nibbles. And I think we're going to go with the old Lamplighter of Selhoff. Don't need that land. So at least we're not drawing that. Delirium enabled for our, yeah. So he can make this take a long time if he wants to. That's fine. Oh, hello there, threat. funnily enough, that also works. And lets us keep up shenanigans. Not tapping our guy. I like that. And now we've got basically 2 lethal dudes next turn. So he's got to either kill me or kill this or trade with this. Like, something's got to happen. Okay, he's got blockers for that. That's fine. So he probably trades with that. I can get it back with the waltz. I think we just move to combat here. We can make a pretty strong argument for attacking with the lamplighter here too, but I don't want to get overrun. So I'm going to play this very cautiously. By trading this with the mob and then using the waltz to get it back, we present, again, 2 lethal threats for next turn. And we get a mentor for our troubles. Which is not a great card to have, but we've got it. Furtive Homunculus, Fibblethip, found. I can think of cards that are really bad for us here, Tenacity being top on that list. The Equestrian Skill would be pretty bad too, as we'd have to deal with a lot of trample. I think we can still survive that, but we might not be able to survive it and keep kill conditions online. We shall see how they attack. They don't. All right, that's got to be good news. Era Falconwrath, I like. All right, let's just see if we've got the win. We're also basically free to attack with the Lamplighter here, as they kind of can't block it with this. We'll just Death Touch it. And we've got enough chump blockers that we're fine. We could even play the Era Falconwrath afterwards. So I think I'm fine going in here and here. That does put us a little susceptible to trample, but... Okay, I see what you did there. They may not have realized that Drownu Corpse Trawler had an ability. Which is kind of fine by me. I want my frog back. That doesn't really work. Alright, got there. That was a close one. Alright, let's wrap this video up, and then we'll look at that blue deck again some while we're between rounds. Maybe at least get that built. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you for the round 2 in just a moment.